Okay, so can I just say that I'm really excited about this podcast that I'm doing with Kerri? It's amazing. I feel so inspired. ArtistCEO. A podcast. Left brain, right brain.
ArtistCEO diary entry.
I'm so used to working every single day of the week. Weekends mean nothing to me anymore. I think art and commerce, business and creativity, productivity and beauty can integrate. I'm excited. When I get excited, I just want to dig in. Everyone is born creative. ArtistCEO. It's taking so much more time than I ever imagined to make this dream come true. Hey man, I'm just faking it till I make it. This podcast that I'm doing with Kerri, it feels like the perfect sandwich to chew on that both my meat-loving, hungry, give me some substance CEO wants to do because it's productive and it's, I can write it off because it's a viable marketing investment for brand building and business exploration. And then it's also like chock full of vegetables and organic, like farmer-raised chickpea hummus for my vegetarian artist who just wants something light and poetic and really, really healthy and nourishing, aka a creative project.
Hey, it's Kerri, the content strategist you met in episode 1. I'm really excited that Shannon is excited about this podcast. I love podcasts. In fact, last year I loved them a little bit too much. See, I'd left being a content manager at a storytelling startup to pursue my art, a one-woman show and spoken word poetry, and so I was nannying to pay the bills. The kids were practically babies, too young to speak, and so I listened to podcasts for almost 8 hours a day. I was obsessed. Like a baby with a pacifier, when I started doing online media work again, I had to wean myself off of the comfort of nonstop audio education. My secret is that when I was trying to be an artist, I was actually obsessed with listening to podcasts about entrepreneurship. Seriously, I've heard them all. So it's great to be producing a podcast about art and entrepreneurship instead of just listening to them, even if it is still a bit of a vicarious living.
So, a couple of months ago, Kerri and I met. So, Kerri is my digital marketing strategist, and she too is a left brain, right brain integrated being, and she is both a savvy professional, a businesswoman in her own right, and a poet, literally.
It's sort of weird to be called a poet when you haven't written poetry in some time now. Last year I was performing a lot. I had a video that went semi-viral on Upworthy and performed at a big conference, but lately I've been wondering, what's next?
I was having coffee and a beer, and I was actually celebrating with my team. We had just had a great design project that went really well, and I think it was our first official full design project with a particularly important client, a very big tech company that we were really excited to work with. And so I told them I would take them out for a round, and we were sitting there, and I had my a regular meeting with Kerri. So I told everyone I had to excuse myself, and I walked into the other patio of this place, Paisan. It's got little twinkle lights, in the evening, and another bar right in there. It's where I go when I want to feel like I'm in Europe, even when I'm not. So I was there with my team. I excused myself. I went into the back patio. There was a second little door outside, and it was hot. It was hot, hot, hot. And there was something in particular about the heat in the sun because it was making me relax. Or maybe it was the beer. I don't know. But I just remember being really happy. And I remember being really relaxed and at ease.
All I remember is being on Skype in my home office, and because I'm on the East Coast, it was dark outside.
And I often feel at ease when I talk to Kerri anyway, because she's a pretty mellow soul, and she's very thoughtful, and I never feel like anything we do is rushed. And this is exactly the way I want to go about my marketing. This is exactly the way I want to go about my advertising and, in fact, running my business.
At the time, everything Shannon was doing was split into the two sides of herself, businesswoman and artist. And it just didn't feel as interesting as the truth. In some ways, Shannon was like the cobbler with no shoes. She was a brander without a brand.
I want to do branding thoughtfully, but I also want to do it irreverently. And I think those are also born of the two sides of myself. I don't want to play the game on either side. I don't want to be a starving artist who navel gazes too much. And I also don't want to be false. And so much freaking marketing out there is annoying and fast and shot from the hip, and not in a good way. Not like shot from the hip from the gut, but just the same old fucking thing. It's just cookie cutter. And I know that you're not talking to me, even if you say, automobile tires built just for you. No, you didn't build them for me. You built them for a mass market, and now you're trying to shove it down my throat by interrupting my favorite radio station. Go away. So I'm really interested in trying to find out, how quiet can we get? How thoughtful can we be? And how authentic can we truly make our marketing?
There really is so much noise out there. I was just wondering, how do we do something that only artists would do? Something bold. And how could Shannon really express her own brand truth of being both a business person and an artist?
So Kerri asked the question, what are we doing here? And does it make sense to not take these two sides of you that you had created a schizophrenia of sorts between Gray and Shannon and Who and the shows that you do, and work to integrate them? So Kerri one day suggested a podcast. I started listening and got really, really excited. And I just had this flood of energy that welled up in me.
This is where Shannon gets inspirational. And the audio gets a little tinny.
It's the kind of excitement that reminds you who you are, that reminds you why you live, that makes you feel like something other than you has come down and given you a road sign, or maybe a neon sign right in the middle of your face that says, yes, this. When you know that you will have boundless energy for this project, because that's what it's going to take, because there will come a time where you will hit the dip and you will be exhausted and bored out of your mind, and the last thing you want to do is that little thing that's necessary. I get it. I get that you got to follow where the energy is, because it's going to require that. And you must find things that are practical but also inspire you, because otherwise, what the hell? And so I got really excited. I got excited about a podcast that talked about the process of being a CEO and an artist. And at the core of me, even business is a form of creative expression.
So there you have it. Next time, you'll hear the story of how Shannon became an artist CEO in the first place. Spoiler alert, it wasn't by going to business school or by getting an MFA. Subscribe to ArtistCEO for more episodes and follow us on Instagram and the web at HelloArtistCEO. This is an Art House of Who production, a division of House of Who Inc. Music by C.F. Watkins at cfwatkins.com. My name is Kerri Lowe. You're listening to the story of Shannon DeYoung. Till next time.